In progress.
Hello, everybody. We are super excited and grateful to have you here today. My name is Randy Carroll. I'm the Strategic Sales Manager over here at Rooster. Today is our very special guest, Cliff Freeman. I usually give a very botched background of people, so I've decided to make it a personal policy to let Cliff and others to introduce themselves. But the topic of today's webinar is it's uh, it's grind season, homie. And so Cliff is going to introduce himself. We're going to knock out awesome little motivational video, and then we're going to talk about what it means to be in grind season. How is that different than the seasons we've been in the past? Let's, without further ado, Cliff, introduce yourself.
Well, thanks, Randy, and I'm super stoked to be here. I've been a member and a big fan of Lab Code Agents for almost as long as I've been in real estate business, which is 38 years. I just got to say that it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you guys today. It's grind season, homie. What that's all about is, there's an old saying, what got you where you are is not going to get you where you want to be. And we've had just a crazy good real estate season for the last 5 to 10 years where it's almost been like order taking. And that is that's changing.
That might be an unpopular opinion. You might stir the pot a little bit with that comment.
Well, I've been in the business. I was getting licensed in the 80s back when rates were 12, 14%. Builders were buying down rates back then. And then I went through, a couple of other bumps in the road. And then there was the big one, the Great Recession. And this, of course, is nothing like that, except, now we're at a point where it's very competitive. Sales are down significantly. The things that we've been doing in the past aren't going to cut it. We don't have multiple offers like we did in the past. As soon as rates started to hike up, things, came to a sort of a boiling point, and then all of a sudden, it's like the bottom fell out of the market. And so this year, it's been tough. House prices have been steady. I mean, we're fractionally over where we were last year, but the bottom line is we've got inventory issues. Probably less than half of what we had even 5 years ago. So the challenges and the headwinds in the market are ahead, I think, are going to be a little bit longer than most people predict. We're definitely going to see a further thinning of the herd. There are going to be people wondering why they got into this business. The phone's not ringing and not know what to do. And sort of what I mean by it's grind season, homie. We'll get in this in depth. Is that it's not just your skill set that needs to be leveled up, but also the amount of work we put in. Back in the day, you could work 40 hours a week and knock out half your competition. Return phone calls, that would knock out another 40% of your competition. But now it's really going to be tough. We're going to have to fight for deals as they come because, it's apparent that interest rates and house unaffordability is going to be with us for a while here. So we've got to get used to a new dynamic in terms of how we do business. So I kind of like to start out just to sort of get everybody up and off the ground and get things rolling here. If it's okay with you, I want to show you a video that really inspired the term "it's grind season, homie." Randy, if I could have your permission to show that, I'll go ahead and
by all means, please.
All right, do. Guys, enjoy this one. This one's hot, coming in hot.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Telling everybody your sad and sob stories, trying to get people to show up to your pity potties and your pity parades. If you ever see me in a Rolls Royce, a 6 or 7 star hotel, living my life to the fullest, don't get jealous of me. because I worked my ass off to get it. Nobody handed me nothing. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's game on. It's go season. It's time for you to take advantage of the access and the resources that you have in your country and your community. You got a problem with your life? You got a problem with your environment? Do something about it. If you want it, go get it.
Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up, they're fabricated, they're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
The fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. Everything is uphill that's worthwhile. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult.
If you want it, you gotta go get it.
This is your chance. This is your shot. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your place. This is your opportunity.
This is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today. It's your dream. If you wanted to have it, get your butt up and make it happen. If you wanted to have it, rise and grind.
You still got work to do. Stay on that basketball court. Stay on that football field. It's grind season, homie.
It's
The
right.
name makes a lot of sense now. The title makes a lot of sense now. I love it. If y'all aren't jacked up after that video, then I don't know what's wrong with you. You got to check your pulse.
Man, I honestly, I still get goosebumps when I watch that video. That just really gets me fired up. But that's the market that we're in, guys. We just can't cut it short. It's going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of things, a lot of obstacles that we face that we've not looked at for a long time. I mean, 90% of the agents, I would say, or 80% anyway, who have a license now didn't have one back in 2008. And so very few of us have been through those types of struggles where you put a house on the market and it doesn't sell for months. Okay. And you really have to learn how to market a house. With these lawsuits that are coming down now and the potential for buyer agency to go away, in terms of what the seller is paying it and the buyer agent having to provide value and have the buyer pay their fee. I mean, all these things could really turn the market upside down, or if you're ahead of them, they could be the greatest thing that ever happened to you.
So that's a really important inflection point. If you are ahead of these things, then you can make out like a bandit, right? You can benefit from the fact that so many other people were unprepared. If you are unprepared, then you may very well be out of a job, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So around our office, we call them flat squirrels.
Flat squirrels.
You ever been driving down the road and you're going along and all of a sudden a squirrel goes out about halfway across the road and it stops and it's just looking around?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of real estate agents are going to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get to the other side pretty quick, you're going to be a flat squirrel.
So to know if you are on the other side or if you are a flat squirrel, if you don't know which of those two you are, you're probably a flat squirrel. Is that what I mean?
You got to be sure, you got to be darn sure that you know what side of the street you're on. That's absolutely correct, Randy.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, if I understood correctly, you've got some content to share with us to understand just how to get across to the other side or what type of effort it might take to get there. And honestly, this is a good time for people to gut check. Do you want to do the work to get to the other side? Because you don't have to. You don't
Well,
get stuck
that's
in the middle of the road, but
right.
you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us have the benefit of being able to coast through this. This is not going to be one of those kinds of markets, and that's okay. But those of us who are prepared to really go to the gym, the real estate gym every day, and work out and work on the scripts and dialogues, what we're saying today is nothing compared to what we were saying a year or two ago. I mean, clients are looking to us now to be advisors and managers of the process. They are clueless in this type of market. They really have no idea. And that's where it's incumbent upon us to really be the trusted advisor, the ones who they can go to that have a take on rates and know more than what we used to call the average frustrated agent. You've really got to do your homework here. You've got to know what the Fed is doing. You got to know the impact it's having on the economy. You've got to understand supply and demand issues, what the builders are going through right now, what could potentially happen should rates cross 8%. I mean, there are some really big milestones that we need to keep our eyes open for that are going to tell the story going forward about what this market's going to look like. And so that requires a lot of work. I don't know if you've read the book The Road Less Stupid by chance. I'm sure some folks in our audience have, and I finished it on an airplane when I was flying out to Vegas to speak, and it was one of those books that I would say is probably in the top 10 that I've read recently. And I sat down and I just felt compelled to make some notes about it. And I put together, this is actually from a presentation that I did. And I hope, let me see if I can do this without messing up our screen and stuff here. Will you just give me a nod if you can see the PowerPoint? Does that look right?
Looks good to me.
Looks good. Okay. So for the coming time, and this is where, ladies and gentlemen, there is no more important time than right now for you to look at what you do as a business rather than as a job. This is no longer going to be clock in, clock out. This is going to be nurturing and developing a true business. The things that you've done for prospecting, you're going to have to double up your efforts. A lot of people are pulling back on spend. Now's the time to counter that and go in and really try to dominate with market share. I always tell, coaching clients of mine and people on our team that, it's a rising tide raises all ships. But when it comes to times like these, you cannot focus on your raw numbers. You've really got to look at market share. If sales are down by say 50%, well, home prices are up 50% in the last 5 years. So, really don't sweat it. You can still do half as many transactions as you did 5 years ago and still make the same amount of money. So don't be too concerned about transaction numbers. Look more at volume in your production. It's going to give you a kind of a truer picture of how you're doing relative to times past, especially given the inventory issues that we have now. I mean, isn't this a great business, Randy? Where else can you go and get a job and have your income increase by 50% without you having to do anything other than just, be part of the industry? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I don't know how happy Rooster clients would be if I overnight decided to charge them 50% more. Probably not too thrilled.
I understand. Yes. Yeah, for sure. All right. Let me make sure I've got this thing going here. Apparently it's not wanting to go forward. There we go.
Oh, there we
Okay.
go.
Now we're moving. Okay. So what I want to talk about here, and I'll try to make this as brief as possible in deference to the time that we have for everybody. I just want to talk about a few observations that I made in this book. We'll talk about 3 pillars of success and some bonus material. And I'm going to try to speak to a little larger audience today because, what's going on in the brokerage industry is just another sign of what's happening. And what I mean by that, I'm a big fan of Michael Del Preti's. I watch all of his stuff, read all of his stuff. The guy's, he's super smart. He's up, on faculty at the University of Colorado, and really has a lot to say about the industry. And I mean, look, we've all more than likely done time at different brokerages and seen different models and things. And at the end of the day, because of the attrition in this business, I don't care what brokerage you're at, the brokerage, when you stop growing, you start contracting, because typically just every year we're going to lose about 30% of our agents, just due to natural attrition. And then if you compound that with the fact that we've got headwinds in the market right now, then it makes it even tougher to stay afloat. So as an industry, we're contracting. So if you're in a position where, say, you're a team lead or you own a franchise and it's your job to recruit and bring people in, I'm just going to speak a little bit to that, because I know we have a really broad audience out here. All right, so let's start with the 3 pillars of success. This is something that a lot of people don't realize, but if you look at the evolution of companies, it's amazing. I mean, even since, I'm going to jump down, since 1955, 80% of all the businesses in the Fortune 500 are gone today. They've disappeared. And the reason is they fail to evolve. What we're seeing right now is something that, in my opinion, is going to force such big changes in our business that we're going to see business as we know it change. It is going to change, and it could be the way transactions are done. It's definitely going to be the way we've looked at, running a business in this type of an environment, which, again, this is so unique. It is nothing like 2008. And until the Fed gets its boot off of the economy's neck, so to speak, we're going to be looking at a lot of headwind and potentially, a recession here. These are just some random things that I wanted to throw out, Randy, and just, I'll be 65 in January. So if I can take a little bit of this gray hair and, like I said, 38 years of the business, and just throw some nuggets down, that's what I'd like to do. The first one is, a mistake is not a sin unless it is not admitted. And the context for this is that, Randy, we lie to ourselves more than we lie to other people. When we make promises to other people, we tend to keep them. But think about all the promises that we make to ourselves that we don't keep. And that we have to break that habit. I mean, that's bad news. If you can't be honest with yourself, then you can't be honest really and help anybody else. So that's just a real big thing that's occurred to me over time. Here's another one. The tougher the times, the better people you're going to need. There's no way, either on the sales side or the back office side, to survive a weak market with bad people, or a bad market with weak people. Either one, it's not going to work. Another is money, funds, how we manage our finances right now. I'm sure most of you have probably read Shift, and that was, between that and the Red Book, which was the Bible back when, I was 2005. That's when I first got introduced to those 2 books, and they were amazing. But it's all about paying for overhead that you really don't need to support, that doesn't support revenue. And that's a stupid factor, is what this book is named after, The Road Less Stupid.
Well, that's a really good nuance to point out too, because before we were talking about spending in order to obtain market share. This is specifically talking about pulling back on spending that doesn't directly align with snatching up market share. So you actually have to be very deliberate when you think about, is this spending to attain market share? Is this spending that does not support revenue and market share? So that's an important nuance.
Exactly. I mean, it's about holding each dollar accountable.
Yes.
Another great book I read quite a while back, but it's called Profits First. And Profit First is all about kind of turning the accounting equation around and starting with profit. And we got to make things profitable before, we talk about expenses and income. So that's a great book. If you didn't get a degree in accounting, it's something that can help fill some of those gaps. Ordinary things consistently done produce extraordinary results. Randy, you know how many real estate agents will start something and they'll give it 3 weeks and say, man, this isn't working. I got to stop doing that. It's like
Yes.
farming. I mean, you can't do farming and in a month have really enough data to know whether it's going to work or not. That's why we call it a campaign, because it's going to take months and months and months of consistent application. It's the same thing with prospecting. I mean, this industry that we're in, success is really boring if you want to know the truth. It's just all about consistency. It's all about consistency and showing up every day. And that's why I say it's boring, because it's doing the grind, homie. It's doing the things you need to do. It's doing 12 to 15 hours of prospecting a week and doing it consistently. And we've been able to slack and miss the gym, maybe go to the gym once a week, something like that, the last few years. That's not going to cut it going forward at all. All right.
Yeah, I can't help but think about that exact example, is going to the gym, your fitness, your health. How this is applicable to your business, to your health, to your relationships. This is not just real estate advice. This is life advice.
Exactly. And for my coaching friends out there who are really working from the heart to help other agents, here's the thing. This is what your clients and you have to understand. When my effort to help you get better exceeds your effort to get better, this stops working for both of us.
I hear lots of coaches quit coaching because they realize they care more than their clients do.
It's exactly right. Yeah. And now the time more than ever is, you can't honestly waste your time with people who don't want it bad enough, because that's what is going to happen. We've already talked about it. There'll be people leaving the industry because it's hard or because they don't have the solution. And you know what? If they're not swimming towards you, if they're swimming away from you, then you got to let them go. That's really all there is to it. All right. And again, just in deference to time here, I can make this available for the group if you guys would like a copy of it later. I don't know that we're going to have time to go through all of this, because I did kind of want to hit some other highlights here. And obviously, Randy, you're a super smart guy, and I wanted to give us a chance to talk about things, in kind of an open format. And are you guys able to take questions at all on the webinar, or?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a Q&A section. People are more than welcome to throw some answers in. They can put their answers in the chat. I've been monitoring that as well. And I've got a little bit of extra time too, if you have a little time to go over. We got started a few minutes late, which is for all you LCA folks, is to be expected. So we'll go a little late.
Hey, I'm down for it. Yeah, for sure. Because like I said earlier, I mean, I really think this is the blueprint here to help everybody get through this storm and get to the other side. All right, so let's talk about this. Leverage is the bridge that transforms the business from operator mode to owner mode. And what I mean by that, and I'm sure we all have heard about leads, listing, and leverage, the 3 L's. If you're not replacing things that can be managed by either systems or virtual assistants or things like that are going to be more efficient, more cost efficient, then you're going to be working like a dog. I mean, here's what I suggest for those of you who might be single operators. If you have a perfect day, a perfect calendar, the way you spend your time, go through there and take a look and see how much of your time is dollar productive. Put a dollar amount next to every activity you do every day. And then if you can go and look at there's a great delegation exercise that I can also share and put it in the comments after. but things to help you delegate what you're not good at and those things that are not making you money. I mean, you're going to be the highest paid person in your organization. You've got to really understand that all these tasks and jobs that can be done for less money, the only thing that's going to do is help propel you forward if you will give those to somebody else, delegate it to somebody else, or implement a system that's going to take it over for you. Next, the price of entrepreneurial success is discipline and structure. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but I mean, this is truly the core of being successful, is having the discipline and then also having the structure. You cannot go through life shooting from the hip because, like I said before, the process of being an entrepreneur is turning chaos into order. And yeah, you can sort of initially get started with doing that, but if you don't build structure around you, then that chaos will never be fully eliminated. And that's what the structure is for. Next, that goes right along with this, is that the only constant in business is changed. Randy, we talked earlier about kind of going where the puck is going, knowing what you need to know in order to survive this, not being the flat squirrel on the ground, because business is definitely going to change. We've seen that more in this industry the last couple of years than ever before. All right, these are my 3 pillars of success. I mentioned before about the promises that we make to ourselves, and we definitely break them on a regular basis. I don't know why, but apparently those promises we make to ourselves have less priority than the promises we make to other people. Probably because we don't want to, let somebody down. We're okay with letting ourselves down, but we don't want to let somebody else down. Now, if you think about it and go back and look back on your life, how many times has a broken promise made to yourself cost you either a friendship, maybe a loved one, maybe something in business? I mean, it really happens all the time. All right, one of the ways to combat that is number 2, have an accountability partner. Now, I want to warn you, first of all, I had a pastor in church who told me, when I asked him, I said, well, can my wife be my accountability partner? And he said, for those of you who are trying that, you're really going to wind up testing your marriage. You don't want to do that. Okay.
You are.
You want to find somebody in business with you that can keep you in check, keep you accountable. That's what it's all about. It's just too much pressure on a marriage, but you need someone to tell you no. Okay. That's what you really need. All right. And then lastly, the higher you go or the better you get in this business, the greater the requirement to have someone in your life who will hold you accountable and tell you the truth. Guys, think of any professional athlete that is competing at the very top of their game, whether it's Jordan Spieth or Aaron Rodgers, or can I plug the Cowboys? The Cowboys.
So far. So we'll see how long that lasts this season, but you can right now.
Well, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sending humanitarian aid to the New York Giants.
I think Daniel Jones can afford
it. Yes. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's so true. We start out in hitting T-ball with a coach. In real estate, people will, they'll start out with a coach, but they don't finish with a coach. And that's where there's so many things that a really good coach, and you know what? I've changed coaches. I still coach. It's got to be a good fit and for where you are in that season of your business, right? But you'll find somebody, but having that person there to bounce your ideas off of, to help keep you in between the lanes where you need to be, is absolutely, it's priceless when you get up to that kind of level. I remember Gary Keller, when I was at KW, was saying that he had a personal coach that he paid, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, $180,000 a month is what he was paying his personal coach.
No way.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, here's somebody that's Hall of Fame, reached the pinnacle of the business, and you certainly don't get there, by being a slacker. So, I mean, if that's one thing, and I hope that everybody on this call would just ask themselves one question, that is, am I under investing in my own self-development? Am I under investing in my own self-development? Man, I bet a lot of us can answer that the wrong way. All right. I want to talk about attraction. And in that, really, this applies to a lot of other things. The idea that anything in life is passive is a bad idea. I mean, think about it for a minute. If it's passive, you're not really going to associate any worth with it. And you certainly look at relationships, look at businesses. Relationships are active. I wouldn't want to have a passive relationship. It wouldn't be fulfilling. A business, as soon as when you walk into a restaurant and it's an absentee owner, right? I mean, you can just tell it's just not the same. It doesn't have the quality and the feel to it. So really no part of your life or your businesses work in that passive mode. And so if this goes out to anybody that's running an office that is involved with recruiting, a lot of times we just want people who can fog a mirror up to walk through the front door, but really start with the people that you want and then help them bridge the gaps between what you offer versus what the competition offers. Even if you're running a team and you're trying to recruit buyer agents and stuff, you always want to start with that gap. What is it that they have now? Where are they frustrated? And what can you offer them? You have to be super clear on what their definition of success is. Don't start, for example, with leads if their problem is not leads. Maybe it's conversion, or maybe it's they don't want to be stuck in a buyer agent position the rest of their life. They're looking for, opportunity. That, for so long in this business, in order to move up, you had to move out, if you know what I mean. And for so long, team leaders were worried about training and creating their own competition. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, there are other ways now that you can develop and grow a team so that if you really help somebody self-actualize, that they can still be your partner, benefit, expansion, whatever it is that you want to do. But it's time to look at the world a little bit differently.
Yeah, Richard Branson, the Virgin Galactic CEO, has a great quote about that. Train people well enough they can go out and work on their own, treat them so well that they won't want to. And this passive concept is a wake-up call, because society has romanticized the idea of passive income, passive this, passive that. And like you pointed out, I wouldn't want a passive relationship. Where would my marriage be? Where would my friendships be? Where would my work relationships be if they were all passive? And so ultimately, this is hopefully a wake-up call to you that the concept of passive is not this amazing end-all be-all that people ultimately, the talking heads on social media, have made it out to be.
I totally agree. Totally agree. I'm glad you mentioned Richard Branson, Randy, because he also said that you don't have to worry about the customer if you take care of your employees.
That is another really good thought.
Yeah,
that's a very good thought.
Exactly. Okay. And I'm going to wind things up here. These are just kind of I call them my big 8 things that I've done, things that I believe in, things that I've implemented that have really helped me accelerate my growth. And one is to understand the difference between leaders and managers and why you need both of them. And that is that leaders inspire, managers control. Leaders tend to pull, managers kind of push, but you really got to have somebody at both ends, right? So you need those middle level managers, exactly, for accountability. All right, dashboards. I know you guys talk a lot about dashboards, Sisu, and all of these others. I happen to use just purely custom made dashboards in my business. But in order to look at a pipeline, and we tend to try to gamify our sales with our agents. So we have on the dashboard, we show who's leading and, all of this stuff. And it's meant to help. We're all competitive, and competitive people like to compete. Okay. So don't be afraid, things that get published get, I'm sorry. Yeah. Things that get published get improved, things that get publicly published in a manner like on a screen, something that everybody can see, improve exponentially. And so that's why I think dashboards, many of us are trying to like drive our car and we have no idea how much gas is in it. We don't know how fast we're going. We don't know what the RPMs are or any of that. So get yourself a dashboard, get yourself basically a system so that you can get the reporting information that you need. So I love number 3 here, Randy. This one is amazing. Without coaching and consequences, good intentions and the best I can will become the excuse du jour. And you know what? It's so true. Well, I had good intentions, or I'm doing the best I can. Well, okay. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you've seen the old A.L. Williams video that, Primerica was the follow company after A.L. Sold it. But his thing was, just do it. Do you remember that video that was at, I think it was the Religious Broadcasters Convention. I'll put it drop it in the comments here. But people are excuse filled and they just won't do it. In fact, I think Nike, Phil Knight took that comment and did something with it for his shoe company. But and this is what, again, excuses have to go. There is no room for excuses in this market that we're in. I mean, and to use a colloquialism about burning the boats, you don't need to have a plan B. You just need to show up every day, ready to go to work. If you need motivation in this business, I think you're on the wrong business. You got to show up every day, ready to play at the NFL level. It's not anybody's job, including your team leaders, really, to motivate you. All right. Without coaching and consequences, critical drivers and outcomes will become suggestions and not standards. And that's just it. We're a little too flimsy on our requirements for people, and we let them get away with too much. All right, the last 4, and I'm going to be done.
Those points 3 and 4 to me really define the difference between someone who treats this as a hobby and someone who treats this as a profession.
Boom. Excellent. I love that.
That's what comes to mind.
Absolutely. It's somebody who plays at a rec level versus somebody who is in there to, in it to win it. All right. Lastly, your agents and getting them involved in your business. If they're involved, if they create the plan, then they own it. You don't have to sell them on it. And that's so important. I've done a lot of leadership coaching myself. And what I learned is that you have to get everybody involved in that decision process. You can't just always run around as the benevolent dictator. You've got to get buy-in from people, because if they have buy-in, they're going to work harder for it. They're going to feel a part of it. And that's why, and I don't know, again, we could go deep on this, but can you imagine having an iPhone without iOS? What good would it be without an operating system?
The paperweight.
It's a paperweight. Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, people will run their real estate businesses without an operating system. And I don't care if you use EOS, Traction, there's some really, really good quality options for you to go choose how you want to run your real estate business. But by golly, pick something, run your business like a business and get everybody involved, and it'll completely change. I am such a big proponent of core values. And the reason why is this. Every time I interview somebody from my team, we do a core value alignment check. And if anything with our core values show a difference between where we believe, then more than likely that person's not a good fit. I would say, Randy, that 95% of all hiring issues are a direct result of misaligned core values.
Hmm.
The other thing about having everybody in alignment in core values is you never have to worry about the wrong decision being made because they'll have to reflect the core values. I mean, you look at great companies like Google, Apple, Harley Davidson. I mean, these companies, people would take a bullet for the company. It's just amazing. But the reason why it's so strong is that culture is built on those core values. And we all know what Ivan Meisner said, culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? I think it was
Yes.
Peter Drucker that said culture eats strategy for lunch. All right, number 6, you cannot babysit your way to high performance and accountability. You got to get it done. It's big boy stuff. All right, 7, information is simply data that has been organized, which is the role of a dashboard. Friends, we have too many data points every day that are in our lives. We can't tell what's up and what's not because we don't have information. When those data points are put into something meaningful like a dashboard, then we can draw and infer knowledge from those data points. But it's kind of like going from texting to speaking, or better yet, texting to talking face to face with somebody. The delivery and the outcome of the communication is so much richer and deeper. All right, lastly, we need more knowledge, not more information. Flooded
What's
with
the difference?
Well, that's what I was saying. Knowledge is something that you're going to be able to act on. Okay. Information is just like opening up the MLS and seeing all the numbers. Knowledge is when I can look at those numbers and infer what's going on in the market. And then I can advise a client, hey, look, days on market is trending up. We're looking at inventory right now, and we just noticed a downtick in inventory. And, we're about to fall into literally the fall market here and believe that inventory will constrict even further going forward. Or, I'm looking at the 10-year treasury. I see that it just broke through, and that bodes not good for the mortgage market. We could be prepared here in the next few months to look at 8% mortgage rates, which would be, now we're at the highest in 24 years. I mean, and when we hit 8, if you think that that's the milestone, that will be the milestone where buyers just completely go dormant and sales really drop. So that's the difference between knowledge and information. We can get information anywhere, but knowledge is when you take that and you make it into something that's actionable.
Knowledge is information plus, knowledge is information plus wisdom.
Love that. Love that. Yep. Can I put that in here as number 9?
Please. Absolutely. It's your clients have access to just as much information as you do, but they do not have your wisdom.
That's right. That is right, for sure. So that's where we got to. It's grind season, homie. And just for those of you who don't know me, that's my son and the elder there. And we have a team here in Dallas of about 109 agents on our real estate team. And we're super excited to, if anybody ever needs any help with anything, we are absolute givers and don't have enough friends. And just super excited to share whatever we can to help. I've been in this business 38 years, and I can tell you that I would not have gotten where I am had it not been for the graciousness and the kindness of other people. So if you're out there and you're at the top, be sure you pay it back, because that's what keeps us moving forward.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
You can email me
or find you.
Yeah, cliff@cliffordfreeman.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and I'd be more than happy to just if anybody needs a checkup from the neck up, or would like a copy of this, I'd be happy to oblige.
Awesome. Well, Cliff, we are super grateful for you to spend your time with us today. I know we went way over it, and we are thankful again for that. So y'all heard it from him, reach out at Cliff at cliffordfreeman.com. Find him on the socials, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Randy. Had a blast. I hope everybody got some good nuggets out of this.
Absolutely. Cheers.
All right. Take care.
Bye.